Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz. And guys, I'm here to talk about an intriguing heavyweight matchup that should happen, and it makes sense since both of them are under the same banner at ESPN Top Rank. And that is Jared Big Baby Anderson, 17-0 now, 15 KOs, versus Efe Agagba, 20-1, 14 KOs. And you see the smile on my face because it is an exciting fight. Efe Agagba went through a bit of hell against Giudu Banello out of Italia. Pretty decent fighter, pretty decent heavyweight. He got a bit of Agagba suffered a bit of a scare with Vinanello, rocked him pretty good with a right hand shot and almost threw Efe Agagba out the ring. Agagba almost went through the ropes over the top rope, but he was able to, avoid that. But, so the fight was a bit shaky, and all of that stuff. So at times that Guido was having his way with Efe, and then second half of the fight, Efe got into his rhythm. He got a bit more loose, started using his jab pretty well. Nice jab, solid jab, started landing the right hand. He switched southpaw, so he was, being much more competitive in the fight, landing solid shots. Both guys having vicious exchanges at times in the fight. And it was a pretty close fight. So for Efe to get that win, it was pretty good for him. Good for his career. He needed it. Of course, Vianello, it would have been nice for him to get that win over Efe. It could have gone either way, man. It was a pretty close fight. Very good fight. The best fight of the night, in my opinion. Definitely way better than the main event. Jared Anderson put on, he did what he had to do. He boxed, he stayed cautious, and he won the fight. But it was not. There was no excitement, for a main event. That was a snoozer. That was one of the most boring fights in the heavyweight division that I've seen in some time. The guy he beat, Riyad Murray, out of Belgium, came so far from Belgium to fight in the United States and then put on a snoozer. He did not take any chances. He did not take no risks. He was waiting for counters. Jared Anderson was afraid to engage, to get caught with some shots. So he just stayed on the outside, used his reach, used his height, jab, and just pot shot. There was not really much excitement in this fight, barely any. So I almost switched over to UFC 300, ladies and gentlemen. That's how boring that fight was. But at the end of the day, Jared, he got the win. Now it's time to move on. And move on to Efe Agagba. Efe Agagba is a hell of a fight for Jared Anderson. It's the right step up fight for Jared if he wants to compete with the top heavyweights in the future. If he wants to be a world champion, he's gonna have to beat guys like Efe Agagba. Efe Agagba is not a top heavyweight, but he's a pretty good heavyweight. He is a solid B heavyweight. He's a much better heavyweight than Riyad Murray, who's really a cruiserweight. In my opinion, Efe is a better heavyweight than I want to say he's better than Charles. The thing is, Charles was heavyweight champion, but he fought for a vacant belt. Then he got starched in 2 rounds by Anthony Joshua, so that shows the level of Martin. Class separated really fast in that fight. Charles Martin was having his way with Luis King Kong Ortiz until Ortiz caught him. And then Jared fought him. And then when Jared fought him, dropped him and everything, it was a competitive fight. Martin, at times, was pushing back Jared in their fight and tagging Jared with straight left hands. And it almost looked like Martin was actually going to score an upset, man. It was that competitive of a fight. But Jared needed that fight, needed a fight like that, because he was never tested. He has never, at the time, he was never tested, not even close in his career like that. So he needed it. You know, he dropped Martin. He was getting tagged, but he also didn't back down. He was hitting Martin back, trying to, outboxing Martin, boxing a smart fight, and he won the fight. Um, so this will be the toughest fight of Jared Anderson's career, the biggest test of his career as well since the Charles Martin fight, if he fights Efe Agagba next. Even though Efe has never been a world champion, Efe has the punching power in both hands. He's a pretty good heavyweight, pretty strong heavyweight. And it will be a definitely solid test for Jared Anderson. Because Efe is no old man either. He's 29 years old. He's 29 years old. He's young. So, and I know if Efe could catch Jared Anderson one of his shots, like the right hand, 1-2, he can definitely put Anderson in some big trouble. But of course, Jared Anderson, big baby, he got punching power in both hands as well. He likes to mix it up. So it could be an exciting fight. Because Efe, he ain't gonna do what Riyad Murray did last night in the main event, being cautious, looking for counters. Efe is gonna be coming forward with his hands up, jabbing, trying to shoot that 1-2, and he's gonna be willing to engage, and it's gonna be a fan-friendly fight. So Jared Big Baby Anderson, 17-0, 15 KOs versus Efe Agagba, 20-1, 14 KOs. That's a tremendous fight. And I can see it happening, man. It makes sense. That's Jared Anderson needs that fight. Needs fights like this if he wants to fight the top heavyweights in the future. And of course, Efe wants to be world champion, so he's going to have to knock off guys like Jared Anderson, who's a rising potential superstar heavyweight. So, and labeled to be the next great heavyweight American heavyweight champion. So it's a tremendous fight, and it's so funny that they mentioned this because I read an article that it could happen next. But the thing is, prior to that, I was telling my dad that these two can fight next. They won last night, and that's a good fight for both. And for Jared Anderson, that's a good step up for Jared Anderson. That's a bit more at the same level as Charles Martin, or a bit higher. Charles Martin, he's a little over the hill now. Like he's past 35. So Efe is 29. So Efe is more in his prime. So that's why I say that it's a bit more step up than Charles. So I hope it happens. It's good for the heavyweight division. It's a solid fight, and let me know what you guys think. Jared Anderson versus Efe Agagba. Two top heavyweights. I would say top 15 heavyweights. Going at it for a spot of a title shot. The winner of this fight definitely will be in line for a title shot in the next fight or two. Likely next fight. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host and crew. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing right here. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.